Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of Spice and Wolf 2024 remake. This is episode 12. Usually I would be saying this is the end, here's my overall score, but not today because this is a show that is continuing into the next season. So we have got 13 more episodes before we get the end of season overview and when I will tell you my overall thoughts when it comes to Spice and Wolf. But welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are looking after yourselves. I really do thank everyone for their continued support. Make sure you have checked out my big announcement. It is up. I am going to Japan. I'm going to be living in Japan for a year. It does mean next season is going to be bumpy. Tomorrow you are getting my summer overview video, so I'll explain it more about what's going to happen, what your schedule's going to look like, so make sure you guys tune in for that. Very excited to bring it to you because it took a while to actually make. I'm glad that's finally going up. And in about a week now you've got your end of season because things are going faster than I presumed, and I can't wait. As soon as I've got the last episode of Kaiju, I'm going to bring out my scores. I'm going to bring out my awards. I can't wait to give my award list because it's always fun and you guys seem to like it. Can't wait to continue with that. So without further ado, let's get through to today's episode. Today's episode was interesting. I didn't foresee it going in the way that it did. Happy and also confused to see Lawrence is alive and he's conscious enough to at least get out of his bonds. Twist that I wasn't expecting was the fact that Hollow just lost. She just went, I'm going to go down on my knees. I'm not even going to bother with this. End it. They didn't really show us anything and it happens off screen. I don't know how I feel about it all happening off screen because I just presume she went in there and was like, look, I can't be bothered. I'm going. It looks like they were about to fight and then she's there and then she's not there. So she was actually able to just get out of there. Nobody had to fight her or anything. No scratches there. She just kind of wounded her pride a little bit. That was the end of that, which was shocking because I was expecting a little bit more. At least she gets back to Lawrence. Lawrence is just really painful to look at, so I don't blame her for being so mad but also sad because she knows that he's thinking about other people even if he's literally looking like a bit of a bruised pear right now, which is, I don't blame her for being angry. Now, the transformation sequence was absolutely gorgeous. I really, really like it. It might have been one of the most enjoyable parts of the episode. It's how beautiful it was seeing her transform and then the music. Now, thank you so much for telling me it was Kevin Penkin. It wasn't on Mal, but I'm glad that it really is because Kevin Penkin's work is absolutely gorgeous. And this moment really is a Kevin Penkin moment where you've got this real build of medieval, beautiful, pagan-esque vocals is what I'd call it anyway. I guess it's just folk song-ish, but it's remixed into an orchestra. I don't actually know if there's a proper terminology for that, but it is so beautiful. The vocals are strong. The moment where she's running is gorgeous. It's electrifying. I really did like that moment. I thought everything was coming together very, very nicely. I think it's one of the strong points of the show. I think the soundtrack of this is really, really strong. The flute work is gorgeous. I love the flute work again. I've always likened the flute to Hollow. It coming in and then having this big explosion as she catches up with them is really, really nice. Now, I don't quite understand what happens in the next sequence because Lawrence seemingly sees another timeline. He sees a timeline where it all goes wrong. So when it does actually happen, he calls out. I want to presume he does actually call Hollow's name because he was probably calling her to stop or something. It makes more sense for him to actually call her name anyway because she was the one staring down Nora and Enoch. Now, I'm very, very happy that Enoch is a good boy. I love him. He's not hurt. I was going to get so mad if something bad had happened to my boy because I was like, he's a dog, let's just not harm him. He doesn't need to get harmed for the sake of the show, so I'm very happy that he doesn't. I'm also really, really happy that it's just a fake out. So when I thought he was getting injured, which made me really, really sad, I'm very happy that that's not the case. I am actually distracted by a bug flying in circles right now. It's so strange. My cat was chasing this thing and now it's just doing really weird circles. That is the first time I've had to cut one of my recordings like in half for a moment. It's like a bug thing going around in really, really weird circles. I don't know if my cat's maybe damaged one of the wings and it's just like trying to fly, but that's literally all it's doing. Nora gets to know who Hollow really is and we finally actually catch the bad guy. It's a very interesting sequence. Things kind of de-escalate. There's no deaths. Her keeps saying that Lawrence is the kind one, but we've yet to see her actually do anything. And you could say it's because Lawrence is persuasive and she doesn't want to upset him. But she did say in one of the myths that she didn't actually kill him. She actually bit him on the butt. So I do want to say that she is perhaps the one who also has a kind heart because she could have easily done a lot of damage and she just doesn't. the end of the sequence where we actually get the gold and we do a bit of wheeling and dealing, which I didn't quite understand. Whenever it comes to the economic section, it's so hard to track. From what I can see, Lawrence has it over their heads. He's dangling it all over their heads and he's got the money and he's basically saying, you buy this gold, then there is a debt. So they didn't owe him a debt for the gold, and they're going to pay it back to him in 10 years because he doesn't want the trading post to go down. And he says, because I'm also not going to be around to collect it, you could pay it to these guys, the guy who is pretty much like a dad to him. That is what I presume is happening. So he essentially breaks even. He doesn't go into debt. He's just even. I think the guy at the end says, I'll buy this off you, give you 30 or something. So he has some money, which he might be able to do something with. And hopefully he's learnt his lesson. But it was a interesting arc. I don't know how I feel about it. It's a wrap-up. It's definitely a wrap-up. But I guess it's good that it's all settled. But also knowing that the trading post is allowed to continue after the damage that they've done is, I don't know, bittersweet. But I'm glad no one is dead at the end of the day. I just feel like maybe they could have got a bit more from them, but I guess they just didn't have that amount of money. Now, Hollow getting jealous because she doesn't know what name was called is another fun one. Like I say, I do think it was her name because she was the one facing them down. There's also the lightning that maybe he was worried that it was a Wrath of God situation and Hollow was going to get smacked down by God or Thor being really, really angry. And I do think he was trying to call out to her. A, stop, don't attack the good boy. The good boy, Enoch, is amazing. Becca will cry. And B, Thor might hurt you. I'm worried about you. I do believe it was her name. I like the moment where he chooses to also call her name again. It's presumably her name again over the bell tolling because he knows that it's going to annoy her and it's a good way of teasing her. It didn't make any sense for it to be Nora. She seemed too far away to have not noticed him, and the bell would have rang out so she wouldn't have really heard him anyway, so it would have been wasted. So I just believe it might be the case that it is shorter, which is hilarious and the best excuse, but I also believe it really was actually her name that was called during both of the situations. So it was an interesting episode. They managed to break even. We managed to get rid of the debt hanging over our heads, so it's going to at least be a happy walkout for the first half of the first season. I think originally my friend did say that this is the end of season 1, but we're going into a continuous season, so I'm keeping it as this is just the season. And it, again, still the good boy. Nora seems to be free, and I'm happy about that, but I really hope she's able to walk away from the church because she does return, and I don't know if the church are any wiser, so I hope she's able to stand up to them and actually get away from them and do what she really, really loves. We're going to hopefully have more adventures with Spice and Wolf, hopefully Kevin Penkin's music as well. It does mean that next season we're going to have 2 shows airing with Kevin Penkin at the helm. We've got Spice and Wolf, we've got Tower of God. And I like both. I love anything by Kevin Penkin. He's such a great artist. All of his work is very much geared up to world building. And when it comes to Spice and Wolf, I truly feel medieval. I truly feel pagan. I truly feel this is something folklory, spiritual. And that's what I get with the music. And he's so good at building it via the use of his instruments, via the use of his composition. The flute that I think really is representative of Hollow is such a good addition, and I'm so happy that he's actually in charge of this project because it's a project that a lot of people know, and everyone I've spoken to who has watched anime has either known of it or they've watched the originals. So I'm so happy that he's been given a chance to do this, and it didn't go to Hiroyuki Sawano, my boy, but both my boys. But I do believe this is more Kevin Penkin's forte. Sawano is so good at fights and drama and being OTT, but this is something that needs a bit more slow build. It needs a bit more careful composition, and I'm spoiled for choice with both being in the world, and I'm blessed they're both in the world. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to go and rescue this bug that my cat has probably wounded. Please take care of yourselves. Check out the summer overview that comes out tomorrow. Do check out the end of season as well, and check out my announcement about Japan because it's a big one. I'm so glad that my channel is going to go through a bit of a change. So you've got a lot of cool things to look forward to. Make sure you're subscribed. Go check out the Coffee account. Go check out my blog. My blog is now out there for people to read. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.